If you were even remotely paying attention in 2015, you might have noticed that it was a pretty good year for science. From the waters of Mars to the alien megastructures, things started to get decidedly futuristic. Well, you'll probably be pleased to know that this looks like a trend that is set to continue as the juggernaut of progress marches relentlessly on. Unfortunately, no one has yet managed to invent a time machine or crystal ball, so we can't be 100% sure what lies in store for us in 2016, but we can have a ruddy good guess. Space exploration, medicine and technology are still the big hitters, with some seriously science fiction-y developments coming our way. The environment might get its fair share of attention this year, and big data is set to come into its own. So, out with the old and in with the new, let's have a look at the incoming year in science. Number 10. We will discover more Earths. What with the whole Earth 2.0 thing that kicked off in July of 2015 with the discovery of Kepler 452b, exoplanets have never been so cool. Although the public interest had died back a bit, the search continues for Earth-like exoplanets in the hope of finding one that might harbor life. At this stage in the game, the scientists are thinking small. A lot of the exoplanets we have found are classed as super-Earths, and a lot of them orbit smaller stars. This is largely because the methods we use to detect them, looking for stellar wobble and dimming, lend themselves to the big planet-small star combo. However, the technology is more advanced than ever. I mean, it's not going to get less advanced. So 2016 could be the year we find our identical twin somewhere out in the galaxy. Number 9. Virtual reality will get real. As seen at this year's CES, the next generation of virtual reality has arrived. 2016 is the year that Oculus Rift finally releases their long-awaited headsets, as well as a raft of other companies including Samsung and HTC throwing their hats into the ring. VR has been a long time coming, but has never been able to shake off the novelty factor. The sensory deprivation aspect of immersive gameplay has always been a bit of a drawback if you happen to have a particularly sharp-edged coffee table, and the technology has never been quite good enough to be truly convincing. This looks set to change in 2016. HTC Vive's Chaperone feature is a good example. Previously, any attempts to blend the real and virtual worlds, either as augmented reality or so that you don't end up bashing into that coffee table, has always resulted in less that immersive gameplay. However, Chaperone supposedly works more with your instincts than your vision, pushing the simulation into your subconscious and allowing your brain to blend them seamlessly. This kind of technology probably isn't going to be in every home by the end of 2016, but it looks like the early adopters are finally getting something to get their teeth into. Number 8. We will either find or put life on Mars. It's safe to say that Mars kicked off a bit in 2015, what with the whole "we've found water" thing. Studies of Mars are likely to continue in earnest in 2016, looking closely at its past and present watery self. Whether we discover life in those little Martian streams remains to be seen. That bit's not really up to us, but we could end up with life on Mars another way. There are some who predict that 2016 could be the year that Elon Musk announces his plans for Martian exploration with his aerospace company, SpaceX. The Rocket Man has already had his fair share of success right at the end of 2015 by bringing the Falcon 9 rocket safely back to Earth. Musk has already expressed his desire to see a Mars colony within his lifetime and has previously announced that he plans to retire there. 2016 could be the year it all begins. Number 7. We will defeat superbugs. You know how doctors tell you to finish your course of antibiotics? Do that, please. The reason they tell you to do this is because bacteria, like humans, come in all kinds of strengths and some can easily survive the first antibiotic blast. If the course isn't finished, then you are naturally selecting the stronger bacteria to survive and pass on their genes, causing them to evolve antibiotic resistance. We're now at the point where some bacteria will survive any course of antibiotics that you throw at them, and will again survive to pass on their super-resistant genes. If this gets out of hand, then we could well find ourselves back in a pre-penicillin era with rampant, untreatable disease. This, as you can imagine, is no picnic, so the experts are throwing themselves into finding a way to treat superbugs before we all succumb to the tonsillitis apocalypse. One way of potentially overcoming superbugs are with phygamid's, bioengineered particles that are deadly to bacteria. Unlike traditional antibiotics, only target specific bacteria, leaving the others unharmed and not inadvertently creating new super strains. In the war against superbug, some major breakthroughs have to come through in the next year or so, because we're running out of time. Number 6. The Internet of Things will enter your home. The Internet of Things basically refers to a network of objects that have embedded technology, and it's coming. As much ridicule as a fridge with Twitter attracts, getting your household devices talking to one another is a good idea. Home hub company, Nest, has already begun to launch a range of devices that are compatible with their hubs. Just put them in range and they'll set themselves up. In 2016, it might become possible to connect your house up to run itself. Amazon have launched their Dash replenishment service that will be able to do everything from feed your pets to order more laundry detergent. More strides are being made by tech companies, presumably excluding Apple, who continue to do their own belligerent thing, to improve compatibility and ensure that everything can talk to everything else. Number 5. Gene editing will be big. CRISPR, short for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, is a type of gene editing that is set to make some big changes. It was discovered all the way back in 2012, and the incredible potential for the technology is really starting to shine through. In 2015, scientists managed to successfully splice together the DNA of an elephant and a woolly mammoth using the technique. It could be used in the future to help bolster endangered populations and even bring whole species back from extinction, perhaps undoing at least some of the damage inflicted on the environment by humans. It also has massive potential in the prevention and eradication of diseases such as malaria by wiping out the mosquitoes that carry the disease. It could even be used to combat those dreaded superbugs by making them vulnerable to antibiotics again. This is likely to be as far as things go in 2016, as human gene editing still proves a touchy subject, sparking furious ethical debate. In theory, we could use it to eradicate inheritable diseases and perhaps even create designer babies, but we'll need to do a bit of soul searching first to figure out where we draw the line. Number 4. 3D printing will go mainstream. We all got very excited about 3D printing when it was brought to the masses a few years ago, but 2016 could be the year when we really see what it can do. Moving on from the brightly colored doodads and gadgets that were the mainstay of 3D printing peacocking, it has found its home in much more serious disciplines, such as medicine. We're already using it to make affordable, bespoke prosthetics and implants, and we've even given the traditional cast an upgrade. We're at the point now of moving away from the plastic fantastic nature of 3D printing now, as scientists in China have managed to print a bone that is made of real bone. Not only does this make them biodegradable, meaning that future archaeologists won't just be digging up little piles of plastic, but it allows them to integrate almost seamlessly with the body as natural tissues grow around them. As well as this, some geniuses have managed to develop a 3D printer that prints drugs. It looks like we're only just beginning to find out what this technology can do. Number 3. We will begin trialing nanomedicine. Speaking of futuristic medicine, your doctor could be prescribing you nanomedicines in the not-too-distant future. Pretty much everything in your body that keeps you going, fights disease and helps you grow operates on a nanoscale. So scaling down our technology to match means that we can interact with our systems on a much more precise level. With this new layer of subtlety, we could target cell damage, cancers and pathogens in hand-to-hand combat. For all our advances, current medicines available to the general public are still more of a slash-and-grab affair. Sure, we can treat cancers, but by poisoning the whole body, we can cure infections, but with broad-spectrum antibiotics. With nanomedicines would make the whole thing much more targeted. So far for 2016, reports are emerging for the first human nanobots trials. These bots are designed to target cancers without the horrendous side effects of chemo or radiotherapy. They can recognize up to 12 different cancers and differentiate cancerous cells from healthy ones. They're also smart enough not to interfere with one another, meaning that they can be used in conjunction with many other drugs. Beyond 2016, nanomedicine could find itself in the realms of prevention as well as treatment. In the same way you might get vaccinated today, you could someday be injected with a swarm of little guardian nanobots, capable of detecting the very earliest signs of ill health. Number 2. There will be a boom in jobs for data scientists. For some people, the phrase data science is their cue to take a quick nap, but big data is soon going to govern all our lives, more than it already does. A fact of modern life is that most of us are on transmit. Social media, search data, wearable, fitness trackers, online shopping, questionnaires, GPS. All of these and more are collecting vast amounts of data about us. In fact, the amount of data we have is expected to reach the size of 44 trillion gigabytes by the year 2020. This isn't about nabbing your email address and trying to sell you stuff. By the way, big data allows us to track trends across an enormous cross-section of society, enabling us to fine-tune our tech, predict trends and continue to hone artificial intelligence. All of this would be a veritable goldmine, but only if we have the people to mine it. Data scientists' jobs have already raised by nearly 60% in 2015 and will only need more as time goes on, so if you're wondering what to do with your career, it looks like data is where the big bucks are. Number 1. We will enter a new geological age. The term Anthropocene first started getting bandied about in 2000 as a way to describe our current geological age. It refers to the massive impact that human actions have had on the planet, dramatically altering the environment on a similar scale to ice ages and weather systems. The Anthropocene is so far not an officially recognized term. According to most geologists, we are officially still in the Holocene epoch, which is characterized as an interglacial period and encompasses pretty much all modern human advances so far. However, there are those who think that the human impact on global systems is now so significant that it goes beyond a contribution to the Holocene period and warrants its own classification. Classifying a new epoch is a tricky business, but in 2016, an international panel of experts will decide whether or not to formalize the Anthropocene. As global temperatures continue to rise, and with 2016 predicted to be one of the hottest years on record,